The snap-tight assembly system locks end channels to all sheets without the need for tools or fasteners. To assemble each panel, the perimeter channels are secured to the top and bottom of each sheet. Gently tap the channel over the snap-tight lugs and work your way along the sheet. Each channel should be fit to the center of each sheet. Simply tap the channel along until it's aligned. We're going to join our spliced channels now. Basically, we're just joining a pair of channels together to make a longer one. There are three parts: a left channel, a right channel, and the joiner. Looking at the part numbers, you'll see that the left channel has the letter L at the end and the right has the letter R at the end of the part number. There are also printed arrows pointing to the end that needs to be joined. The joiner, called a CSJ, needs to be put the right way around to match the channel. Make sure you've got the long sides matched up. Place the CSJ centered on the end and press in until you hear the click. Repeat this process with the other side and make sure the halves are butted up against one another. Do this for the rest of the spliced channels in the pack before beginning construction.
Okay, what we're going to do now is our ridge beam construction. So you've got your two parts, 97AL and 97AR, and then we've got our ZASP, our ridge beam connector. There's a plastic film on the white part of this ridge beam, so that needs to be peeled back. Okay, once you've got that off, we just need to lay our ridge beam on the ground. Now be aware that you have two different ends on your ridge beam. As you can see here, the silver part protrudes past the capping, so that needs to go to the outside of the ridge beam. As you can see down this end, it's short of the capping, and that's where we join the two pieces together. So just lay your two ridge beams on the ground and then slide the capping of one of the pieces underneath the hat section of the other. Okay, make sure that these two parts are touching each other, and then use your ZASP just evenly spaced where the join is, and just push that down inside the hat section. Turn it over, and then what we're going to do is put some screws in here just to lock that ridge beam in place. Okay, before we put our screws in, we just need to identify where the splicing channel finishes, which is there. So we need to make sure we put our first screw in just inside there, just in the center of the hat. Flip over, just check again where this one finishes. And again, just inside. Okay, now you've got the two outer parts locked in. We then just evenly space with the rest of the screws, about 50 mil, and just work your way along. Okay, what we're going to do now is our rear wall assembly. So parts for this are two H31s, which are our center sheets, two H30s, which are our outer sheets, an 81A channel and a 77B channel. 77B channel goes towards the top, 81A channel to the bottom of the shed. One way of also ensuring you've got the correct sheeting on your H30s is it has some pre-punched holes in the corner ribs. So these must go to the edge of the panel because they're going to join together with another wall. So first we just need to join our sheets together. Okay, once we've joined all our sheets together, we need to snap on our channels. So we're going to do the top first, which is our 77B. Now you have a small edge and a larger edge, making sure that the small edge always goes to the outside. the bottom. Okay, so that's our rear wall assembly completed. Okay, now we're going to do our roof panel assembly. So we've got 2 roof panels to assemble. Your part numbers for this, for the sheeting, are 4 sheets at 45A. You have 1 channel at 60A, which goes up inside the ridge beam, and a bottom channel of 81A. And then we have our 2 lip flashings of 87A. So like on our previous back wall assembly, first thing we need to do is to overlap our ribs and make sure that our sheeting is flush with each end. We also need to make sure that we have the sheets the right way around, the correct way around. You'll notice at the bottom of each sheet is some pre-punched holes in the pan. Holes that are in the pans need to be at the bottom. All right, once you've got the sheets around the right way, we just need to join all our roof sheets together. Okay, now we need to put our top channel on, our 60A. Again, making sure that the small channel goes to the outside. Larger side of the channel goes underneath. Do the same with the bottom side, 81A down here. Once we've got both our channels on, we just need to put our lip flashing. Okay, you've got 2 edges on your lip flashing. You have a short edge and you have a longer edge. So we just need to make sure that the shorter edge goes to the top. Just slide that in underneath the channel, like so. And then just match up your holes. Do the same with the other end. Okay, that's our first roof panel assembled. Just stand it up and we're going to put our ridge beam on top of it. Okay, we've got our roof stood up. Now making sure that your 60A channel is on top, and you'll notice that we've got some pre-drill holes in this channel all the way along, and they marry up with the pre-drill holes in your ridge beam. Okay, so what we need to do is where you've got your join in your ridge beam, just line it up with the join in your channels. As you can see too, the pre-drilled holes in the ridge beam are lining up with the pre-drilled holes in the channel. Okay, so once we've got that clipped over the channel, then we just need to lock it in with the screws. Okay, now we're going to do the second part to our roof panel assembly. So again, our 4 sheets at 45A. Remembering that the holes in the pans need to go down to the bottom edge. 60A for the top, and 81A for the bottom, and 2 87As for our lip flashings. So just making sure that our sheets are flush, top and bottom, and then let's join them together with the screws. Okay, now we need to put on our top channel, our 60A. Again, making sure the small edge goes to the outside, larger edge underneath. Same with the bottom with our 81A. Again, smaller edge to the outside. Okay, once we've got those channels on, it's time to put our 87A lip flashing on. Again, remembering that the smaller edge goes to the top, and this slides in underneath our channels. All right, that's our roof panel completed. Just one last little tip. The screws in the top part of your sheets here that slide in underneath the other part of the ridge beam, sometimes they can get caught. So what I do is I take them out and replace them with just a normal rivet. So if you want, you can do that. And that's our roof panel assembly completed. Okay, now we're going to work on our side wall assembly. So we've got our two centre sheets, which are our H31s, and our two outer sheets, which are our H30s. Now, same as the back wall, making sure on our outer sheets that the pre-punched holes in the corner of the rib goes to the outside. Okay, first of all, we just need to join these sheets together. So again, making sure that your sheets are flush, top and bottom. Okay, we're going to put our top channel on now, our 55B. Again, making sure small edge goes to the outside of the panel. Now we put our bottom channel on, our 81B. And that's one of our side wall assemblies completed. Just need to do the same with the other side. Okay, so our top channel, our 55B, again making sure small edge goes to the outside. And that's our second sidewall completed. Now I'm going to show you how to construct your front frame for your Absco Bushranger Shed. So first of all, we need to obviously cut the pack open, separate all our parts, and then using the parts list that's inside the box, just identify all our parts and make sure everything matches up. Okay, first stage of our front frame construction is our header beam. So we need two pieces at 2300 long. Okay, now on these pieces you have a small edge and a larger edge. That's your small edge. It's only a couple of millimeters difference. Okay, what we need to do is this smaller edge needs to tuck in under the larger edge of the other piece and squeeze them together. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put screws all the way along both edges, about 30 centimeters apart, and just making sure that that's nice and flush before we put the first one in. So start at just about 50 mil in from the edge on your first one. Turn it over. Same with the other side. Again, one just in from the edge. Same down the other end. That's that beam done. Grab our 240 mil pieces. Again, same process. Small edge, large edge. Small edge tucks in underneath the large edge of the other piece. Tap them on the ground to get them flush. Same with the other edge. Okay, now what we need to do is attach multi-purpose brackets to both sides of this little upright. So just making sure that your multi-purpose bracket is flush with side and bottom. Okay, what we need to do now is attach our upright to our header beam. So our header beam's 2300 long, so we need to take measurement of 1.15, and that will be the centre of our header beam. Just line up the centre on the front and back edge. Okay, what we need to do now is put our multi-purpose brackets on the edge of our header beam. All right, now we need to do the same to the other side. And that's our header beam complete. All right, what we need to do now is attach our little C100 pieces to our corner uprights. Of our front frame. So again, same policy, small edge, larger edge, smaller edge, tucks underneath the larger edge of the other piece. Put 2 screws on each side. Okay, do the same with the other piece. So after you've attached your 2 pieces together, this is what the end should look like. All right, what we need to do now is join our corner upright, which is our C2034, with our other upright, the N2070. Now you have them on both sides. They join together with our little 2085 pieces. Now, to do this properly, what we need to do, and using your instruction manual because it has the set out dimensions and measurements for that, we need to make markings up these 2 pieces so we know exactly where these go. So what I do is just put them back to back, making sure the bottom is nice and flush. Obviously one piece is longer than the other, so the top end doesn't matter. We're going to start at the bottom, so it's important that the bottom edge is flush. Now, using those measurements that are given, we just make our marks up the pieces. You can either A, mark both sides, or I've got a set square that I use so I can mark both of them at once. So once you've marked one side, flip it over and do the same with the other side. Okay, once we've marked this one, we need to do exactly the same with the other uprights. Okay, so I'll take measurements on this side, so we come up 140 mil from the bottom, and then it's another 420 mil for the other 5 spacings. Okay, what we need to do now is connect our 2 uprights together. Little tabs go to the outside. Okay, we just put in 2 screws at this stage, and then we flip it over, we do the same to the other side, make sure the thing's square, and then we can screw it off with all 4 screws. So at this stage, only 2 screws. Okay, once we've got 2 screws in each one of those, we need to flip it over to the other side and do the same again, 2 screws all the way down. Okay, now what we need to do before we screw this off completely is just make sure that this piece is square. So what we do, start at the bottom, hook your tape over the bottom leg. Looking at 1840. We're at 1840, so we're square. So what we need to do now is just go through and screw off both sides. Okay, so once we've screwed that off, we need to put that one aside and do exactly the same with the other side. Okay, that's our 2 side uprights assembled. Okay, once we've got our 2 side uprights assembled, our header we did earlier, now it's time to start putting the front frame together. So what we need to do is attach our header beam to our 2 side uprights, and positioning of that header is exactly 2 metres from the bottom of the frame to the bottom of our header beam. The multi-purpose brackets that we screwed on earlier to our header beam, we now screw through those into our uprights. Okay, once we've got that header beam now attached to either side of our uprights, we need to attach our 1484 diagonal stays onto the top of our frame. That gives us our peak. So starting in the far corner, what we need to do is overlap our corner upright like so, and the 2 valleys of each channel should almost be touching. Just put 1 screw in like so. Just need to sit that over the center upright. Just put 1 screw into the next tab. Okay, so just leave the center for the moment. We need to do our other side first, then come back to the center. We'll get a height and screw that one into position. So same again, over the top, valleys as you can see almost touching. 1 screw in the next one. Okay, before we screw our centre upright into position, what we need to do is just make sure that our peak is the correct height. Okay, once we're happy with our height dimension of 22.95, we just put a screw in each side just to hold that gable in place. Now what we need to do is lift the frame up, flip it over to the other side, and that's where we're going to check our height again, check for squareness, and then we can screw the whole frame off. Okay, what we need to do now is check our diagonal measurements, making sure that the front frame is square. We've got the correct height, again, before we screw anything off. If your frame's not square, you're going to have a lot of trouble getting your doors to close properly on the front of your shed. So that frame must be square before you screw everything off. Okay, once we've screwed this side off, we need to flip that frame back over the other side and then screw off that side, and then we've got a little triangle plate we need to put on there as well. Okay, what we need to do now is put our triangle plate on the front edge of our front frame. So just lining up the 3 points, making sure you're in the center of your upright here, and these other 2 points aren't sticking out above the frame. Once you're happy where it's positioned, just put some screws in. Okay, that's our frame screwed together. What we need to do now is put our sheets and our gable on the front of our frame. Okay, our next stage, what we need to do now is put our gables and our sheeting on the front frame. So first we need to join our 2 gable pieces together. Now they have a plastic wrapping on the gable, so make sure you pull those off. Okay, once you've done that, lay your gables down. I've just put some cardboard underneath just to stop any scratching on the gable. Now you've got some holes in the back here, 3 holes that we just need to line up, put some screws in. Alright, next step is we need to get our 77C channel and attach it to the back of our gable. Now you've got some pre-punched holes in your channel, and they will line up with the pre-punched holes in the back of your gable. Okay, so just tuck that channel in underneath your gable piece, and then put screws in those holes to lock that in. Okay, once we've got that channel attached, what we need to do is flip our gable over, attach our jamb to the gable and the channel. Again, you've got pre-punched holes in your jamb, matching up with the pre-punched holes in your gable. So attach your 93L first. Okay, once we've got our 93L in position, now we need to put our 93R in. Again, just lining up the holes. Okay, once we've got our gable assembled, we need to sit that over the top of the gable on our front frame, just positioning the jamb sort of halfway in between that C-section upright. Grab our front wall sheets, making sure that the holes that are in the rib there go to the outside, and we need to slide that up and inside the channel. Okay, so once we've got that sheet tucked in underneath the channel, we need to get our HJ2 jamb, and as you can see, it goes inside the little notch out piece and it's got to slide in underneath the channel, like so. Now once you've got that in place, using your pre-punched holes in your jamb, we need to attach the jamb to the sheet first. So you've got no pre-punched holes in the sheeting for this, so you will need to drill out your own holes. Once you've done the top, I'd go down to the bottom. Now you need to grab your 81M and just snap that onto the bottom of the front wall. Just to finish off, just put a screw in that bottom corner. Now we need to do the same to the other side. Okay, so same as the other side, slide our sheeting. Once you got the sheet in place, then it's the HJ2 jamb. Okay, once we've attached all our jambs and channels and sheeting together, what we need to do now is screw our skin, our gables and our sheeting to the actual frame itself. So we just need to position the sheeting and the gable so you're in line with the edges of your frame the whole way around. Once you're happy where that's sitting, then using your WaferTech screws, attach that to the frame. So just lock your corners in first. Okay, now we start at the bottom edge, just moving the sheet into position. Okay, last thing we need to do is now just screw your outside edge of your sheet down to the frame. So as you can see, we've got those struts we put in earlier for our front frame. So screwing through the centre of the sheet will pick up that strut on each one as we go up. And just do the same with the other side. That's our front frame complete. We're ready now to stand our Bushranger Shed up. Okay, now that we've finished our panel assembly, what we need to do now is stand our shed up and join our four walls together. So starting with a side wall and a back wall, just overlap the ribs in the corner. You'll notice you've got some pre-punched holes that we need to align. Put a screw in the top. Then the bottom one. And now the rest of your holes. Okay, now we've connected our back wall with our side. We just need to join our other side wall. Line up your two holes. Okay, once we've got our two side walls and our back wall connected, now just need to do the same with the front. Again, same process, just overlap, put a screw through the top hole. Okay, once we've screwed off one side of that front corner, we just need to do the same with the other side. Okay, what we need to do now is join our other gables together to go on the back wall. Marry up your 3 holes and just join them together. Okay, what we need to do now is attach that gable to our rear wall. You'll notice you've got holes in your gable piece here, and you've got holes in your channel on your back wall. So you just need to line up the holes in the gable with the holes in the channel. Okay, now we've got our 4 walls connected. We've got our gable piece on our rear wall. We now need to put the roof on. Grab the piece with the ridge beam attached first. So once you've got your ridge beam up there, obviously what you want to do is have that ridge beam sitting in the centre of the gable and the centre on the gable on the other side. What we need to do now is screw our roof down onto our side wall. So with the pre-punched holes in your roof sheeting, with the pre-punched holes in your channel, you just need to match them up and screw them down. They may not line up perfectly to start with. You may have to push and pull and manipulate them just to get them into place. Just start with your corner one first, and then just work your way along the roof sheet. Okay, once we've got our roof screwed down onto our side wall, we just need to attach our ridge beam to the gable on this side. So you've got a pre-punched hole there in your gable. You're going to need your drill just to drill through that ridge beam. Make sure your ridge beam's flush at the back with your gable. There shouldn't be any overhang. Okay, once we've got that half of the roof screwed down, we need to put our other half on. So lift it up onto your walls. Okay, once you've got your roof slid up into your ridge beam, what you need to do now is align your holes. Now your holes may not line up straight away, and that either means you might be overhanging at one end. So you need to go on the outside of your shed and have a look, make sure that the roof is flush with your ridge cap at both ends. Now we've got the roof panel screwed into the ridge beam. We just need to screw it down to our side wall. So same as the other roof, start in one corner, line up your holes and just work your way along. What we need to do is just attach our back gable to our ridge beam. So exactly the same process as before, drill your own hole. Okay, what we need to do now is attach our ridge beam to our front frame. Using our bracket, just position that in the middle, like so, and then we attach screws through the pre-drilled holes in the bracket to the frame and the ridge beam. Okay, what we need to do now is attach our Absco gable cap to cover the ridge beam and the peak of the gable. You'll notice you've got a perforated edge on your gable cap. That just needs to be folded over to 90 degrees, like so. And you've got some little tabs at the bottom. They just need to be folded back as well. Little tabs slip underneath the lip flashings, like so. And the rest sits over the top of the ridge beam. Okay, once you've got that little gable cap on, now we need to drill holes through the pre-punched holes in the lip into the gable and attach to the gable. Now we just need to repeat the process on the back gable. Okay, what we need to do now is put our 13A piece on our back wall and our ridge beam, and that just stiffens up that whole gable wall. So just drill your hole out and then just drill a hole through your ridge beam. Once we've got this first one in, we need to do the same with the other 13A piece. For our roller shutter, what we need to do now is get our actual shutter inside the shed, unwrap it. What we're going to do now is put some little brackets for those support posts to slide into, and then we can stand the roller shutter up. Your roller shutter door comes with a protective film on the front and back casing. Make sure you remove this before your installation. Okay, what we need to do first is remove the rubber band, like so, and then you've got this bracket. This is what holds our support post in place. So that bracket just slides in over that, like so. Grab your support post, and this part of the support post slides into that bracket. When you slide that support post into place, make sure that you pick up the track as well as the bracket. Alright, what we need to do now is using our 45mm hex head screw, we need to attach that upright to the bracket. Okay, once we've screwed those posts into place, we need to stand up the roller shutter. So using 2 people, once you've got your roller shutter stood up, you just need to make sure that your posts are equal distance apart, and then just screw that into the track. Okay, once we've done one side, we just need to do the same to the other. Okay, once we've got that stood up and a couple of screws in the top there to hold it in place, what we need to do now is lower our shutter. Now just keep in mind, as you lower it, what you want to do is centralise your shutter in the track. So if you're catching as you're lowering it, you need to move it over. And as you're working your way down, just keep centralising that shutter. You'll definitely need 2 people for this job. Once you've got your roller shutter down in place, what you need to do then is remove the leftover packaging, and then what we can do is screw our tracks into place. Once we're happy that our roller shutter is in the correct finishing position, what we need to do now is screw off the rest of our tracks to the front frame. Okay, last thing we need to do now is put the back casing on our shutter door, so just slide that into place. You've got some pre-punched holes in your casing with the pre-punched holes in your shutter, and just put some little screws, hold that in place. What we need to do now is put our handles on our roller shutter, coming down 8mm from the bottom rail. We just need to make a mark, drill holes and screw those handles into place.
Before you go ahead and anchor to the slab, measure the distances from the front left to the back right corner and then the other diagonal. When these are equal, the walls are ready to be anchored. Take your angle brackets and lay them out in the positions as shown, spacing them equally along each wall. Using these brackets as a template, go around and carefully mark where the holes are on the slab and on the wall. Drill 3mm pilot holes in the wall centered on these marks. Now switch out to the 10mm drill bit and drill through these pilot holes. Next, take your hammer drill and insert the 10mm masonry drill bit. Drill down through the marks we made earlier. Be sure to go down deep enough for the height of the dynobolt. From the outside of the shed, take the 10mm bolt and poke it inside. You may need a friend to hold it there. Align the angle bracket with the bolt and then tighten the nut by hand. Tighten it further using the shifting spanner. Put the dynobolt through the bracket and into the hole in the slab. Tighten this nut on the dynobolt with the shifting spanner. Now that this has been done at all positions, the structure is anchored.